Thank you. At this time, I would like to call the meeting to order. If everyone could please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Allegiance.
The United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and
All right, first order of business, Commissioner Evans, do we have any opening comments?
Yes, welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us. Our meetings are neutral ground, a place to hear and be heard. The Board of Commissioners is here to represent everyone in Callan, and we strive to be sure our decisions address the needs of all, because we're all in this together. Just a reminder, only questions or statements regarding an agenda item will be entertained under citizens to be heard at the top of the meeting. All other matters will be recognized during public comment at the end of the meeting. I forgot to write this down, so I'll just want to send our condolences and love and support to our neighbors in Callan, England.
Oh.
We're sisters and brothers, whatever we are, with Callan, England, and we are settled by settlers from there. And I'm sure that some of them are grieving the loss of the Queen today. I'm sure some are not, but either way, she was the Queen my entire life. And so now I guess Charles is the King. So we send our love and hope they come visit us again soon. Welcome back. Labor Day weekend is a wonderful way to celebrate workers being liberated from the 7-day work week, the advent of child labor laws, and our unions who protect the rights of workers nationwide. But you know what? I love summer. I always equated Labor Day with back to school, and I was not a big back to school guy. But now I see back to school as having the opportunity to learn, and being a commissioner is a full-time learning process. I'm grateful to be back in school with all of you today. Emergency. Just want to touch note on this again. At our August 25th meeting, we voted to continue with Minquist and Washington Hose to provide basic life support services for Callan, and Minquist to provide advanced life support services for the remainder of the year 2022. The loss of Brandywine Hospital and Medic 93 has put intense strain on emergency providers for all of us in the surrounding areas. We will be monitoring the capabilities of various providers to help us decide which way to go in 2023 as we continue to navigate a clear path towards ensuring all of our residents are served, that they're served equitably, and that it stays that way moving forward. Time to stretch it out. We welcome another new business to our soon-to-be bustling town center, Lincoln Highway. A yoga studio has opened up at the campus annex. It's next to the Rock Shop, just to the west of Bob Wagner. It's yet to be named, but they offer some pretty cool classes and a very chill space, and I know they got some pretty great instructors there too. Cleanup time. Social media can be a wonderful way to stay in touch with friends, but it's not the place to get factual information. If you want factual answers to your concerns, you don't need to scour the web. Just shoot one of us an email. Your question will not only be answered, but it will also be anonymously addressed as part of the opening commentary at the next available meeting. I guess I don't do the rest of the call before midnight tonight, and you'll also get. But I'll just come back to this. Lincoln Highway is starting to change, and I'll remind everyone, Callan Township is open for business. Nothing is ever perfect, but it's our township, our community, our home. Hashtag look out for Callan. We can all be a part of the solution by eagerly spreading the good news about where we live.
All right. Thanks, Mark. Pump me up. I like that.
coffee cup.
All right. Next on the agenda, we have a presentation. This is our 2021 audit.
All right.
Look at that.
Hold on.
Applause. Got a little feedback somewhere?
There's Lisa.
Hi, Lisa.
Hi, how are you? There we go. Can you hear me? Is
Yes.
that
All
good?
right.
I
All right,
believe we
thanks.
have Chris Herr from Ailey in the audience, I hope.
Yep, he is here, Lisa.
All right, there we go. Chris, you
He's at
can
the
take it
podium,
away.
Ready for the
Welcome,
big
Chris.
game.
All
All
right.
right.
Thank you.
How you doing?
Um,
Hi, Chris.
Appreciate it. Glad to be here tonight to present the 2021 audit. I did provide this summary. Hopefully you all have it. I'm just going to kind of focus on that. A little easier to go through that than the 80-page statement. This will hit all the highlights that I usually would hit anyway. So just to dive right in, the results of the audit, our opinion on the financial, the auditor's report, a little bit of a mixed bag this year. Not bad, but there's two different types of opinions happening on the financial statement this year. An unmodified opinion, which is also known as a clean opinion. That's the best opinion you can have that you want to have on your financials. We have an unmodified opinion on the general fund, the capital reserve fund, the new ARPA fund, internal service fund, all the remaining funds, and the discretely presented component unit. Then we have a qualified opinion on the basically everything else, the governmental activities, business type activities, golf course, and solid waste fund. And what a qualified opinion is for is it's really like an except for. Everything's great in the financial statement except for one thing. And the one thing here is not your fault, it's PMRS's fault. Those four areas of the financial, the governmental activities, the business type activities, the golf course, and the solid waste fund, report a piece of your non-uniformed, your employee pension plan. So you have that through PMRS. The rules under the GASB for reporting your share of PMRS in your financial statements is it's a 1-year look back. So in 2021, we should be presenting information from PMRS as of 2020. Information is not available yet. They're way behind. So as a result, we're presenting information from 2019. So last year we were an extra year behind, and we continue to be an extra year behind. I am hopeful that at some point PMRS will get caught up. They've had a lot of things on their website, software changes, personnel changes that have slowed them down. We used to have your information, February or March, and now it's going into the fall before we see it. So other than the PMRS information being a year back, everything else with those particular funds is good. There's no issue there. So that's all that qualification means. Non-compliance, none. Findings, none. If we had any issues during the audit, we would be required to issue those in a separate letter that would accompany the financial statement. We don't have one. It appears that everything is sort of running the way it should be as far as your finances go. Next page, I always like to put in a few of the estimates that are in the financial statement. Starting with the net pension liability. The net pension liability is the sum of the actuarially calculated liability of your plans, less any assets you have in trust for those liabilities. Your police plan is now overfunded, which is fantastic. In 2020, it was about a $600,000 liability. That means your liability exceeded your investments. In 2021, it swung the other way. It's about $830,000 overfunding. That's a result of a 15% return on investment during the year, about $1.7 million of interest, dividends, and unrealized gain on those investments. I don't know what 22 is going to look like as far as investments go. I've heard some horror stories from a lot of municipalities about how the first half of the year went. So I don't know what it's going to look like, but it is really good at the end of 2021. Your non-uniform pension plan, this is the plan through PMRS. Again, these numbers are 2 years behind. So with your police pension plan, we're looking at 21 and 20. The non-uniform plan, we're looking at 19 and 18 here. 2019 is overfunded, about $90,000 overfunded compared to a liability of about $790,000 last year. In 2019, there was a 21% return on investment that year. Now, some of that's timing. There was actually a really big dip right at the end of 18 in the market, like in December, and it bounced back in the beginning of 19. So if it hadn't been for that, the investment return probably would have been closer to 15, 16%, but it was a big return on investment in 2019. So both plans overfunded, which is always a nice thing to be able to say. Minimum municipal obligations, this is the amount you're required to contribute to your pensions, again, calculated by your actuaries. The police plan, around 660, 670,000 a year. Non-uniform plan went down a little bit. It was 187,000 in 19 compared to a little over 200,000 in 2018. Capital assets, depreciation, and accumulated depreciation. Your governmental activities, this is your buildings, roads, infrastructure, vehicles, equipment, everything. Total cost at the end of the year was just over $40 million. Depreciation, about 1.1 million of depreciation in 21. At the year end, accumulated depreciation was about $21 million. So the way I always look at it is you have $40 million of assets, they've depreciated $21 million, means you're about halfway through the life of your assets. That's right in the ballpark of what I usually see. I usually see anywhere from 40 to 60, so you're right in the middle there. The business type activities, so this is going to be your golf course and your solid waste. Costs about 3.5 million. Depreciation was about 70,000. Accumulated depreciation 1.6 at the end of the year, and again, accumulated depreciation as a percentage of cost about 44%. So you're about 44% through the life of your golf course and solid waste assets.
So Chris, is there any type of, right, I mean, I know you said that you see that pretty frequently,
Yeah.
but is there a recommended percent at which, GASB says, you're hitting a danger zone?
Yeah, there's no threshold. I mean, usually municipalities, are putting in about what they take out. I think, in 20, you put in about $600,000 of additions during the year, versus that $1.1 million of depreciation. There was a couple vehicles, about $500,000 of road work that was done. It tends to be a little cyclical. You buy your building, you have your roads, then you maintain your roads. Eventually your building gets, old enough that you realize, hey, we need a new building. It tends to be pretty cyclical. There's no guidance out there. Most municipalities just tend to make the improvements when they need to, and that sort of brings the percentage down.
Just curious.
Yeah, no, it's a good question. The next page, next couple pages, we'll get into some of the numbers, the highlights from the year. The first one is your major revenues. The blue, the bottom row there is going to be 21. Orange is last year, 2020. Total governmental revenues, so that's pretty much everything except for solid waste and golf. Total governmental revenues were $8.9 million for 21 compared to about 8.5 for 2020. Still up about $400,000. That first row there, taxes, that's going to be the big chunk of it. Taxes went from about $6.2 million of revenue to $6.5 million this year. And that is almost all EIT, that increase. EIT was 2.5 million last year, went up to 2.8 million this year. It's about a 12% increase. I will tell you the same thing I tell all the other townships and boroughs I talk to. I do not understand EIT. It just seems to be going up 10, 15% a year like clockwork. I thought, after they did the centralization of EIT collection with the counties, that it would eventually level off, and it hasn't. So, even through the pandemic and everything, EIT has been a constant revenue stream and increasing. Intergovernmental revenues is the second biggest sort of revenue source for the governmental activities. You can see just how much smaller it is compared to taxes, but your intergovernmental revenues went from about $935,000 down to $855,000. I couldn't put my finger on any one thing specifically. Your Act 205 pension money was down a little bit. Your liquid fuels money was down a little bit in 21, and that's just all state driven. Golf course revenues were up $805,000 up to $887,000 for 21. I do a few other municipal golf courses, and they all saw the same thing. Golf really came back in 2020 during the pandemic, when that was the first thing that sort of reopened up, and a lot of people got back into it. So I'm continuing to see increases at all my municipal courses. Solid waste, it looks like there's a little bit of a drop there. It's about a $30,000 decrease in solid waste. It's about $1.3 million a year. The next section is the expenditure breakdown. Expenditures, total government expenditures were $8.3 million for 2021 compared to about $7.7 for 22. Public safety is obviously your number one expense. Really flat year on year, went from about 3.5 down to $3.4 million. There were some legal expenses in 2020 that didn't reoccur in 21. If you took that out, it would be just flat year on year, which is for a police department, public safety department, it's fantastic. Usually I'm used to seeing 5, 6, 7% increases year on year. So that's good. Public works, highway and street, big increase here, went from about 1.25 million in 2020 up to about 1.7. It's going to be driven by a lot of road work that was done in 2021. Your liquid fuel fund, and I think I might share that a little later, but your liquid fuel fund really didn't have much spending in 2020. It was sort of accumulating that state subsidy. And then in 2021, you guys spent about $600,000 out of your liquid fuel fund. Golf course expenses went up about 100,000, went from about 500,000 to 600,000. I said before you had more revenue there, more green fees, more food, more merchandise sales. So obviously you have more expense related to all that. And solid waste, just like the revenues, is very flat, about $1.3 million a year. Long-term debt, your notes payable went from about 4.9 million down to 4.6, just a result of about $300,000 of principal payments during the year. And then the last graph, probably the most important one, fund balance. So this speaks to the overall financial health of the township, after we look at the revenues and the expenses. So we've got 4 rows here. Start with the general fund. So going from 2019 to 2020 to 2021, that blue line, your fund balance, which is assets less liabilities. So if you took all your cash and investments, paid off all your debt, it's what you would have left over. Went from 3.7 million to 4.3 million to 5.1 million. So really good positive growth there at the end of the year. $5.1 million represents about 70% of your annual expenses, equal to about 8.5 months worth of expenses in your general fund. Yeah, I mean, with the IT going up the way it has been, and transfer taxes also being really good in 21, I've been seeing a lot of this fund balance growth in a number of municipalities with the general fund. The yellow line sort of overlaps with the orange line there in 2020 or 21. The orange line, that's your other governmental funds. That's your capital reserve, your liquid fuels, your ARPA funds. Pretty flat from year to year. It was about $1 million in 2019. Then it's at 1.3 million in 2020 and 2021. So really what that means is any money that you're getting in, you're spending out pretty regularly. And then the yellow line that's sort of kind of over top of that's your solid waste fund. That's at $1.3 million, just straight right through 19, 20, 21. So we have, consistent activity there out of solid waste. And then along with the general fund growing being a good thing, the other really nice thing to see here is the golf course fund, which is that gray line at the bottom, was actually negative 2 years ago. It was negative about 350,000. So the liabilities of the golf course actually exceeded the assets that were in there. It was negative $75,000 last year, and it finally went in the black this year, $181,000. So that equals about 30% of the expenses for the golf course fund. It's equal to about 4 months of expenses. So again, just really nice to see kind of everything back in the black here. The last page is something I just like to throw in to show the boards kind of what we're up to in the background with the audit. We do a lot of data extraction and analysis as part of our audit. When it comes to the balance sheet, cash, payables, receivables, we do a lot of testing there, a lot of tying out to the bank, a lot of confirmations. Revenues are also pretty easy to get our hands around from an audit perspective. We confirm a lot of that. We'll test a lot of the large revenues. Expenses is one of the things that, because there's so many thousands of transactions during the year, we've come up with a number of ways to kind of come at it in a new way every year. One of the things we do is a Benford's Law test. Benford's Law is a mathematical law that says in any large randomly occurring population of numbers, the first digit will be 1 about 30% of the time. The first digit will be 2 23% of the time. That drops all the way down to 9, which is less than 5% of the time. So this is an example of your township data, every transaction of the township organized by first digit. And as you can see, you fall right in that curve. It always works out this way. So we actually go to 2 digits. That's a little too small to be able to put in a slide, but we'll look at are the first digits 11, 12, all the way up to 99. And then if we see anything that spikes, we'll look into that. We did have some things that spiked during the year, but it was always just recurring payroll or recurring expense charges, things like that. So nothing that alarmed us once we looked at it. At the bottom, we have some other things that we do for expenses. We do pivot table analysis. We take every transaction of the township during the year. We can lay it out by month and look for any unusual spikes or values in activity. We can also compare it to the prior year. So we can look at July this year versus July 2020 or 2019. And if we see any unusual activity, that's where we'll aim our expense testing. We'll do predictive analytics. So before we even get your numbers, we'll look at the last 4 or 5 years, look at trends, guess what 21 is going to look like, get your actual numbers, compare what we thought was going to happen to what actually happened. And again, that's where we'll aim our audit testing. We look at every W-2 of the township, every employee's W-2, compare them to last year, investigate any unusual increases or decreases. We look at journal entries that are made in your system. We look at your vendors, make sure all your vendors make sense. So again, just kind of wanted to point out some of the stuff we do in the background. And the idea here is that we're not coming in looking at the same expense accounts every year or the same vendors every year. It's really a data approach, a risk-based approach that, we go wherever the numbers take us. So, yeah, so that's really all I have. I'd be happy to field any questions if there are any.
Okay. Commissioners, any questions on the audit?
I just had a quick comment, on the pensions.
Yep.
It's unusual to see fully funded pensions at 100% in government sometimes. And I just wanted to make a comment that in the last probably 6-7 years, we took really aggressive steps to get our pension costs under control. We raised the contribution amounts and we negotiated some more favorable pension reductions with staff during contractual negotiations. And then, better markets also helped too. But, we aggressively came after this because about 10 years ago, it wasn't looking great. And we aggressively went after that. And I think now you can see the fruits of that labor, and we tightened our belts and made sure that we got it to this point. So just wanted to make a comment on that.
Thank you, Josh. Hey, Lisa, did you want to add into this, make some comments?
I'm good. It's been a long process, but really, get through it very well with Allie Albertson and Chris. So I want to thank you guys for getting us through. We actually came in a month earlier than we did last year. So my goal is to be on time next year and get this out of the way as quick as we can.
Everybody always wants to get the audit out of the way. I get it. I'm not.
No disrespect there, Chris. I did not
No,
mean that.
I totally understand it. And I appreciate, we do come in with a really lengthy list of everything we want to see, from bank statements to.
Yeah, I mean, it's
W-2s to
totally
invoices.
necessary.
And you guys get
So
everything over to us in great shape. So I appreciate that as well.
Yeah, I have to commend the finance department, and often people kind of roll their eyes because, they want vendor sheets a certain way, and they want it's just that it makes this whole process so much easier for Chris and his team, and Lisa when she's trying to pull all of the strings together to come up with a clean report. So it's always a good feeling for management when you see that executive summary and there's no findings. It's always kind of a that your hard work, Lisa and her team, is paying off.
It's great. I mean, believe it or not, I enjoy that aspect of the job, and as silly as it sounds, it's a learning experience every year, diving into something else. And Maylee does a great job with with pointing that out and helping us to understand everything as it goes. And it's a nice process to learn the audit process, as well as the daily in and out procedures. So it just kind of ties everything together from A to Z in the finance world. So it's good. It's all good.
So just curious, Chris, PMRS has been a nightmare for all of its clients
Yeah.
and I'm sure you have multiple municipalities.
They've been coming up at conferences. I mean, it's a big deal.
Yeah, I mean, we're kind of at their mercy, unfortunately, because
Yeah.
it's a state entity.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm hopeful that, I know there was last year when we were going through this, it was like in June, there was, letters on the website, hey, we're going to have it in July. And then in July it was August, and August it was September. So it kept getting kicked down the road. I haven't looked recently to see where they're at or how the lists are coming along. I am hopeful that maybe next year they'll kind of have everything caught up. I know they've been catching up on individuals' reports and things like that, but yeah, unfortunately, we are a little bit at the mercy of PMRS, like everyone else. And unfortunately, I think there's some really large. I think Harrisburg is PMRS, so I'm sure they are not waiting as long as some smaller municipalities to get their PMRS report. It's we got fingers crossed it'll get better in the future.
yeah,
That's all we can do.
yeah, I mean, I was just curious, has there been any activity from state legislature to try to get them, because I mean it's a state agency, so
Yeah.
and it's the board is appointed by the governor, so and for two of us here, we are appointed by the governor, and if our boards weren't keeping up with what we needed to keep up with, we would be having governor's office interdiction, basically.
I think I was at a conference maybe it was back in April or May, a couple months ago. Time flies. Where I want to say it was the state auditor general there, and he was making a couple comments about it. And I think it's on their radar. I think PMRS really is trying to get it worked out, get the new software working, get the new employees there, working through it. So there's only so much, unfortunately, I think they can do at this point.
And again, I mean, we all understand the issues that people are dealing with staff issues. I mean, we are feeling it here at our micro level. It just is concerning, especially when, going to a state agency is kind of supposed to be your safeguard. So just was curious if there's been any discussion about.
I think it's on their radar. I've heard enough murmuring that I think it really is on their radar, and they understand that they need to get it squared away and fixed. I am cautiously optimistic that in the next 6-7 months they're going to be able to get caught up on 2020 and get 21 kind of complete on time. I think once they get things flowing in the new accounting system, it's going to go, and the new software they're using, I think it's going to start to.
Okay.
Other questions, Kristen?
There is one in the audience.
Oh, perfect.
Mr. DeYoung?
Thank you. Hello,
Mark,
everybody.
welcome.
Mark DeYoung, 20 Beaver Run Road.
Hey, Mark.
Chris, this probably is a mute question, but I don't know how far you look forward into 2022, but because of IDA, we had an 8.1 million bond issue and a 26% tax increase. Is that something you look at it at all going forward, or are other townships under the same, other municipalities under the same prerogative, same reason?
Mark, I guess he's trying to compare other townships that may have gone through what we've experienced here in our township with the Hurricane Ida and the expense involved. Any comments on that?
Yeah, I mean, we did note in the financial statement, I got a little worried there for a second. We did note the 22 note. We don't look too much ahead at 22 as part of our 21 audit. We do look for any significant subsequent events like that bond issue, which is in the statement. Other than that, other than looking at like some receivables and payables that things that got paid or received in 22 that might be for 21, we don't really get into 22 too much as far as any sort of tax rate increases or anything like that. That's the board's prerogative. We don't really get involved with those sort of funding decisions.
Mark,
Okay.
does that answer your question? Or are you more
That was my
concerned?
question. Yeah, I know
Okay.
it's jumping ahead a year, but, just wanted to know.
Yeah, I mean, there's always sort of long-term capital improvement plans and things like that we're not always looking at as part of our audit, but certainly when you do borrowings and things like that, that's part of a longer plan a lot of times. So not something that impacted 21. We'll definitely be looking at that bond issue in 22, and when there is new money like that, part of our audit, we do make sure those things are being spent properly. I do want to point that out, but as far as the decision to go out for a bond, or the decision to raise taxes, that's not really something that we.
It's on our level.
I'm glad you look at it individually too, so.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Mark. Any other residents have comments?
Not at this time.
If we have no other questions for Chris, thank you very much for your time.
Yeah.
All right.
Excellent presentation.
Well done.
Thanks, everyone. Appreciate it. Have a good night.
You too.
Thank you. Good night.
Hi.
I like
All
that.
right. And Ms. Denny, we are moving past the
Yes,
LED lighting
we
up.
are still working internally. We want to double check the audit again, just to be sure we have the right numbers, because once we seal essentially the deal with this, any lighting, if we would find a light outside of that, we would have to pay for it at our cost. So I just want to double check one more time that we definitely have the lights in there.
And when Ms. Denny said double check our audit, she meant our streetlight audit.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm sorry. The next item for presentation will be on September 29th. We just want to double check those lights one more time. Just a lot of data to go through, and we just want to make sure it's right.
Fine with us. Thank you. Next on the agenda, we do have citizens to be heard. Any in the audience at this time? Any out in the Zoom world?
Not at this time.
All right, moving right along. We, Ms. Camp, our township solicitor.
Hi
First
there.
item now.
I have a proposed motion to grant final minor subdivision plan approval for an application at the property at 4,000 Hazelwood Avenue. I believe that an applicant engineer, Andy Everwine, is probably in the audience, but I will tee this up and explain what this is about. The property owners are Whitney Travaglini, I'm not sure if I'm saying that right, and Craig Kilpatrick. The property is an 8.41 parcel. It's on the south side of Hazelwood Avenue with the address of 4,000 Hazelwood. The property currently has a single-family detached dwelling and a swimming pool. The property is in the R1 residential district. The daughter of the owner submitted an application with their consent to subdivide the property into 2 lots. Lot 1 will have 5.68 acres, and it will contain the existing single-family dwelling. And lot 2 will be 2.3 acres approximately, and that will be available to develop a new single-family detached dwelling. There is no development proposed at this time. It's simply to create 2 lots out of the 1 lot. The subdivision plan was submitted by Edward B. Walsh and Associates. Lot 1 is currently on on-site water, on-site sewer, and they will continue to operate in that manner. They do propose that if a new dwelling is built on lot 2, that it will be connected to the township's public sewer system and to the public water. The CTMA engineer issued a review letter, as well as the township engineer review letter. Your planning commission on June 21st recommended that the board grant approval. I prepared a draft motion for you to consider. There's not a lot of outstanding issues to address. One would be the township consultant review letters. CTMA review letters, obtain the necessary approvals to connect lot 2 to the public sewer. There's some additional right-of-way that's offered for dedication along Hazelwood Avenue. They would have to dedicate. There's an access easement in order to access lot 2 that it's noted on the plan, but the actual easement we have not seen. So that was one of the proposed conditions. And the other thing to discuss with the board is, and obviously I'll turn it over if you have any questions, but the applicant had asked for a waiver to not be required to install sidewalk along Hazelwood Avenue. I think the planning commission had some discussion about this and was comfortable with, I guess they were a little bit split on it. Some members of the planning commission felt that you should be asking for sidewalk in all instances. I think the applicant's position, and I did speak with Ray Stackhouse about it prior to the meeting, is that there is no real sidewalk anywhere else along this avenue. And that it really truly would in this instance be a sidewalk to nowhere. Doesn't, obviously we don't know what the future will hold, but so that is up to the board. The draft motion that I prepared in condition number 2 left it open. So you can either require them to install the sidewalk along the property frontage, or you could grant a waiver and allow them to pay a fee in lieu of sidewalk in the amount of $12,924. And that is based on what your township engineer recommends as far as a linear foot per 359 linear feet, which is the property frontage. So I believe Mr. Everwine's in the audience if anybody has any questions specific to the plan. And then obviously if you have a conversation relating to the sidewalk, somebody will need to decide and start that dialogue.
Good evening. Thanks, Kristen, for the introduction. Andy Epperwine from Edward B. Walsh and Associates, civil engineers who designed the drawing. I was also the representative from my company who was here at the Planning Commission when we did ask for the waiver to not provide sidewalk along the frontage of this property. If you're familiar with the road, there really is no sidewalk anywhere down here in a development around the Geo Crossings. On the one side, it's not going to be developed. The other side is basically a railroad. Won't be developed. We don't believe there's going to be any sidewalk, at least in the near future, out there. That's why we asked for the waiver. The issue tonight is that $12,924 for to subdivide one small lot off of another lot is a lot of money for a young family and a couple to have to pay for sidewalk in this situation. And just given that it's where it is, I don't know that it's necessarily there's a need for sidewalk in there. I know the township ordinance says you guys want sidewalk. I get that. Every township wants a sidewalk. And sometimes sidewalks make sense, and sometimes it doesn't. In this instance, it's our opinion that we don't think it's necessary. So we're going to ask you again to consider a waiver where we do not have to provide the sidewalk nor the fee in lieu. Everything else in here is great. We'll do it. Good. But that one we'd like to talk about.
Okay. Anything else to add to the plan? Is it the sketch in front of you, or is
Subdivision, yes.
okay?
I can basically, as Kristen said, this house is back that we have. I thought you had it before.
No, unfortunately, I just had the paper. I didn't have that.
Yeah, if you could, yeah.
The single lot is being spun off of the big lot. Lot one will stay with the house in the back.
Okay. Oh, that's Hazelwood there.
Hazelwood's over
Okay.
here, yes. So the Washington Cornell.
Mhm.
Road goes down.
Right, correct.
And now, this will take you up to Gallagherville. So it's about, let's say, a couple thousand feet from the Washington Cornell intersection on the right-hand side before you get down to the curb.
Okay, that's a storage unit right on the corner there.
They're up in the corner.
Oh, okay,
yes.
okay.
And they don't have sidewalk.
Mhm.
So, I mean, it's not an overly busy residential area. I know there's some residents that live in other locations in that area,
Mhm.
but the families live here. Maybe 6 people. I've walked past their house since they've been here. They wait for them. It's not heavily used. It's not heavily traveled. It's not to us, but to them. And me as a representative, thinking that it really is just an unnecessary item to have that.
Okay. Okay. But we do have it up on the screen so everyone else can see it. Thank you,
You go
Chris.
through some files and find it, but it's there.
That's high tech.
Mhm.
All right. So Ms. Camp, the only thing we're deciding on is whether or not we would.
You have the motion before you. I think, the conditions are fairly standard in terms of compliance with your outstanding engineer review letters. The other ones are fairly straightforward and are consistent with the plan the plan as it's been presented. The decision and the policy that was left that I couldn't decide, obviously, is how you want to handle condition number 2. And Andy explained it. You either require them to put the sidewalk in, you grant a waiver and ask them for a fee in lieu, or you grant a waiver and just agree that it's not necessary for them to pay anything given the small nature of this subdivision. So those are basically your three choices on condition 2.
Okay. And the size of the lot again is 5.67?
The total acreage of the
Eight
parent lot is
square.
8.41. Lot 1 being 5.6 acres, lot 2 will be 2.3 acres. So the new lot for the new home, if the home is built eventually, is a 2.3 acre lot.
Okay, and the linear foot, the 359 linear feet, that's the entire
Frontage along Hazelwood.
along Hazelwood or along?
Place most of the house.
Okay.
Andy, isn't it what's the frontage along the entire lot, both lot 1 and lot 2?
It's the frontage along lot
Just-
1 and lot 2.
Yes.
Lot 1's frontage alone is 191 feet. So then the frontage on lot 2 is 175. I'm sorry, I had that backwards. Lot 2 is 191, lot 1 is 175.
Commissioners, any comments on this?
Kristen Camp, do you know what I know we waived the sidewalks for the storage unit, but did we require a fee in lieu of there?
I don't know. I can look that up. I don't recall. Let me see if I can find it. Was it self-storage development 2131 Lincoln Highway? No. What was the name of the applicant? I'm trying to remember. Let's see.
Storage First is the name of the facility. I don't know what the application was filed under.
Did you hear that, Kristen?
Yeah, say, I don't know who the applicant name was.
Okay.
I am never afraid to sound stupid because, you know, the more I ask questions, the more I'm wrong, the more I learn. And I got a lot to learn. I'm looking at this, they're not proposing to develop anything here yet, right? There's no plan to put a house in.
Eventually, there will be a plan
But-
to build a house. Yes, this is just to subdivide the lot at this point.
It's not at this point, though.
Right, but Mark, it won't come back before you. If once this is subdivided and lot 2 is created, all they have to do is put a building permit application in to build a house. That will not go to you. That will only go to Ray's office.
Ah. Trying to find a way to, you know, what if, could we do if we grant the subdivision and do not put the fee in, and the land is not improved for 24 months, then we completely waive the sidewalk after that. Does that make any sense?
No, that's a 2-year timeframe. I
Yeah.
think the house will be constructed before that.
Okay, that's what it's trying to get at.
Yeah, no,
was,
it-
you know,
it-
is this an eminent house here?
Yes,
So,
yes, it is. It is.
all right.
The travelers are here. They can.
No, I understand. Good to see you both. Thanks for coming out. I understand, believe me.
So I'm Letitia Travellini.
Hi.
I'm one of
Hi,
the
Kit.
people hoping to buy the house. And I will correct, it's my sister that owns the property, not my mom. She's 2.5 years younger, so that would be impressive. But, yeah, so, and my husband Doug and my dad Gunnar is
Hey.
here. So yeah, we're hoping to subdivide to build a home for ourselves. We've been living with my parents for 2 years. I think they're sick of us. But yeah, I think, yeah, there's no sidewalk on Hazelwood Avenue. I mean, my dad's lived on Hazelwood like his entire life. There's never been a pedestrian related incident on Hazelwood Avenue. It's 25 miles per hour, half mile straight flat. You can see down the entire road. So you can see when cars are coming, when people are coming. We walk on that road a lot with our son. And yeah, there's people that walk there every day, but it's an older couple in the morning walking their dog, another guy in the afternoon. It's not like there's millions of people traveling that road by car or by foot during the day. So, and it would be strange to have a sidewalk going to nowhere. And right now in the front of that property, I have pictures, there's a rail fence and a lot of tall pine trees. So even thinking about constructing a sidewalk could lead to a lot of taking the fence and knocking down trees, because there's really not room between the fence and the road to construct a 4-foot wide sidewalk. That's required by the township. And even just the topography beyond just our lot, there'd be a lot of ground being moved and everything to make the sidewalk there. And on the other side is telephone poles, thatch of trees, railroad.
I don't think we have an issue asking you to put the sidewalk in.
Yeah.
I don't think that's going to be necessary. I just want to have a precedence on, usually with the development, we would either have it in lieu of fee for the sidewalks.
Mhm.
In this case, it's only a subdivision, a second home.
Yeah.
So, Ms. Camp, is there any rulings that we've had in the past that we could look to?
I'm having a hard time hearing you guys.
What's that?
I'm having a hard time hearing you. I was able to pull up the self-storage.
Sorry, it's my fault. Yeah, Mark had me turn off my mic. I apologize.
That's okay. I will answer Josh's question there real quick. The self-storage
Go ahead.
facility did get a waiver and they did pay a $12,000 fee in lieu of sidewalk.
But that was a business.
Sure. No, you're right. Yeah, they're
what I'm looking. I'm sorry. Yeah, what I'm looking at here, it's just a subdivision for homes,
Yeah.
for a family, compared to a development coming in or a business coming in that would actually have $12,000 sitting in a bank account ready to go. So has there been any other cases in the past that we can look back on
Sure.
pertaining to other homes? In fact, in our neighborhood, we had someone just subdivide.
There definitely have been circumstances. There's sort of case by case, and there's an analysis of whether, the area is where you're, seeing a future network of pedestrian walkways, or is it an area that currently people are walking on the road and it's not safe? I mean, it is at your discretion.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't like concrete, but I take sidewalks seriously
Mhm.
because of I had a long existence in the city.
Mhm.
So I like, the bicycle, safety and stuff like that. So I always look, so when I saw this, I looked at Google and I did the view and earth and this, and, I normally want to come in and say, well, you know what, we need a sidewalk there. But when I was looking at it, I was going, there really isn't
No, there's not.
anything here. I mean, it just doesn't. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
No.
Yeah. And
And we moved back from Baltimore, so we do appreciate sidewalks.
welcome back.
Yes.
So,
So, yes, we can appreciate sidewalks. And their
yes.
usefulness. But
I think it's
I just want to be
go ahead.
consistent.
Yeah.
That if we've charged other people when they subdivided to build a second home, I just want to make sure we're not doing something different than we do for other people.
Exactly. And Ms. Camp, do you recall it's Miller Avenue around the corner from my home. They just subdivided. Did we do in lieu of for sidewalks for that person?
Let me try to find that.
Because I know she subdivided thinking she was going to have her daughter move in and build a house in the back. And of course she sold the whole property anyway. So you just don't know what's going to happen.
What was the name of the applicant? Miller?
It's Miller Avenue.
Oh, Miller Avenue. Do you
Uh,
remember who the applicant's name was?
Miller and Atkins.
Atkins. Okay, let me see. I mean, I will say that the concept of taking the fee in lieu of sidewalk, since I've been representing the township for a while, it is a fairly more recent position. I know in the past, waivers were granted without requiring any fee in lieu of. So, and again, I don't think there is necessarily a consistent pattern. I think the board typically looks at whether or not it's commercial, is it along a busy corridor? Is it, you know, so I think whatever you choose is fine.
Could you also put a stipulation in there that if it's developed later on, that we would revisit this?
No, you really need to make the decision once and for all, because this plan is gonna get recorded. So is
Any
it,
other subdivisions on that lot in the near future or at any other time?
We don't plan on there being any.
No.
I was gonna say most
Did you mean the area developed or the lot? developed?
both.
Yeah.
Say they want to put townhomes in or something like that.
Oh,
Or a
right,
business. I
right.
don't know what it's zoned for.
exactly.
It's a beautiful piece of
Yeah.
property
To
back
come in and put another
They,
subdivision.
they would, if anything other than what's proposed here now,
Mhm.
they would have to come back for another land development. So if
Oh, okay.
whatever, you know, you decide
I'm good with it.
anything can
If
happen,
you
but if
wanna develop
you and your
another,
sister
you can
decide, okay, never mind, we're knocking down our houses and building townhomes. Just saying
subdivide
very,
again.
they would have to come before the
We come
board.
back to
This
another
is only
subdivision,
specific
you
to
know?
this plan.
One we just did about the house.
Paul, was it 2351 Miller?
I'm sorry, what?
Was it 2351 Miller Avenue, Lori
That does sound
Bourdain?
familiar, yes.
Yeah, that did not have a fee.
Okay. Yeah. And then
I make a motion.
I would be fine with,
Yeah.
no in lieu of fee, for the
No
sidewalk,
fee.
and we would not, insist on having a sidewalk built. So, I can entertain a motion to approve this, with removing that part of, number 2. How's
So
that?
moved.
Second.
Second? All right. Denise, did you get those? I think it was Commissioner Evans and Commissioner Tindaro. Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, good to go.
Thank you. So what I'll do is I'll revise,
Congratulations.
Now make sure you tell your neighbors we're not awful people.
I will
This is
rev-
how we do things here. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for coming back from Baltimore. too.
Yes, yes.
A beautiful county.
We're glad to have you.
Yeah,
I
Listen,
will
thank you very
revise,
much for that.
yeah.
I
thank
will
you.
revise condition 2 and get that to Denise to sign. So,
Okay.
okay. Next is the continuation of the
Have a
discussion.
good night, guys.
Come back and see us again.
Take care.
I'm sorry, Ms. Camp, go ahead.
Sorry about that. Next is just the continuation of the discussion for the Act 167 Stormwater Management Ordinance update. You've been working with your township engineer to adopt the new county model. At the last meeting, we had conversation about the specific section on how you would go about performing the inspections. And let me get back to that. I believe you chose option 1, which is the municipality performing the inspections of the BMPs that are installed. So we have put that particular section into the model ordinance. The one other, I know we had conversation at the last meeting about, because if the municipality does the inspections, the inspection frequency called out is once for the first 5 years after it's built, every 3 years thereafter, and then at the cessation of a 25-year storm. And we had a conversation about, well, what do we utilize for reference to whether it's a 25-year storm, a 15-year storm, etc. And actually on the County Water Resources Authority website, they have information specific to that. They're suggesting that you use the NOAA Atlas 14, which is the National Ocean, I can't say that word,
Oceanic.
That's it, Oceanic Atlas. So again, I would encourage you, if you are interested to learn more about it, just to go to the Chester County Water Resources Authority. If you hit the link for the model stormwater ordinance, it gives you that information. And it has, it tells you, for example, in a 2-year storm, how many inches of water in Chester County typically, it is. So 2-year storm, 1.44, 100-year storm, well, it actually is broken down in the number of hours and how quickly the rain comes down. But anyway, I know there was some discussion about that at the last meeting. Where we are now is I think the ordinance encapsulates all the changes that you're required to make. We've talked about the discretionary decisions and they have been made into the ordinance. And at this point, we're just asking for you to authorize us to advertise it. This only requires a 1-week ad, so we can put this on your agenda for the September 29th meeting.
Kristen, does the ordinance state that that's what we're using as our benchmark?
As far as where we're gonna look for the reference,
Correct.
it does not. It says the municipal engineer can make that determination. If you want us to put that in, we can.
Is that something that we could do by resolution so that if it changed, we could
Yes.
change that?
Yep.
I
Yeah.
just think there should be something somewhere that people know where that benchmark is. But if we could do it maybe by resolution, that just, that way if the county says, no, we're not going to use that anymore, we're going to use this, we could quickly just change that.
I think, and to Josh's point, Mr. Young's point, that maybe it wouldn't be good to have it in an ordinance, but when we pass it as a part of a fee resolution,
Yeah.
say, at this time, we recommend that people, refer to the NOAA.
The other thing you could do is on your actual application forms that you have for people doing stormwater management, you could put an asterisk and a notation at the bottom as to what resource at that time that your municipal engineer is recommending you use.
I just think it should be somewhere so that people know what that benchmark is.
Yeah, that's fine.
We're just entertaining the idea of advertising at this point.
That's correct.
Any other questions? Any questions from residents?
Not at this time.
All right, I'll entertain a motion to advertise the stormwater ordinance.
So move.
Moved.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Kennedy, second by Commissioner Tindaro. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And motion's good, 5-0. All right, thank you very much, Kristen.
Sure. Kristen, do you need me on for anything else?
I don't believe so. I think we are pretty well, we're good tonight.
Moving right along.
Okay.
We appreciate you though.
Good night, everybody.
Have a great night.
Thank
You
you
too.
for everything.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Thank you.
Good night.
Moving on, Township Engineer. The consideration advertised for the Moore Road Bridge Replacement Project.
Woo-hoo!
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Carl, I'm Casey Lalonde-Barrow. Carl Schmidt with Narrows is getting us out the actual site plans for municipal.
Okay.
Casey, who will be at Community Day on Saturday
Yes.
Okay.
to take all of our bridge questions.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
There, answering
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
all good
Related to.
Yes. Yes.
Just if you can use the microphone because nobody can hear you in Zoom world.
Okay, good.
All right.
Yes, we'll be attending, Carl and I will be at Community Day all day. We'll be there with boards. We'll have
This is
full-size
more?
30 by 42 inch sheets
Okay.
of our, especially municipal and more.
Mhm.
For questions, we're gonna have pictures of the projects that are completed already from IDA and just any general project that we're doing. And we'll be there and answer questions from the public all day long.
That's fantastic. And you're going to be swamped, I'm sure.
Oh, I'm sure, it's fine. That's why we're here. That's why we're here.
And thanks for being one of our sponsors.
Yeah,
Yes,
exactly, of course.
yes.
Okay, so what you have in front of you are the 99.99% complete plans for Municipal Bridge and Moore Road Bridge. I consider Moore Road Bridge a culvert, but that's just nomenclature, no big deal. So let's go through Municipal Bridge first.
Okay, we're doing municipal first?
Yeah, can we do Municipal first?
You
Oh,
can,
okay, great.
absolutely.
Oh,
Let me just
okay.
get it up.
What was on the agenda? More?
More. It's
What's
okay.
more?
We're flexible.
Okay. Municipal Bridge obviously is your biggest, most visible project. Damage during Hurricane Ida for obvious reasons. Thank you, Kristen, for putting that up on the screen. So what is proposed is a concrete archway bridge, 28 feet wide, 9 feet high, and not 9 feet high from it's 9 feet high from the stream bed, and 32 inches long. And you can see the dimensions there. And just to orient yourself, municipal is essentially up and down, and the bridge itself is there in the center. And you have Geo Carlson up at the top of the plan. What is proposed is a precast concrete structure. However, with supply chain problems all over the world still, we're looking at an incredibly long lead time for those structures. we are putting an alternate in both this and more for a cast in place. There's plenty of concrete around Pennsylvania that we can build this quicker with they would essentially build a form and pour concrete in sections and build the bridge, kind of like they used to. I hate to say that, but that's pretty much it. So we're going to have an alternate. We're going to have the precast. I shouldn't name the names, but there's a very famous concrete company in Lebanon, PA, that builds this stuff. We'll see what the contractors can come up with timeline. If it's cheaper and better and quicker to go cast in place with flowable concrete, that's what we'll do. The interior sides and the exterior sides of the bridge will be stone to match your existing sewer pump station just adjacent.
Thank you.
Now, it's not going to
Building
be,
here.
as they say, lick 'em and stick 'em stone or actual stone that needs to be every 5 or 6 years repointed, as they say, with masonry. It's called form liner. It's a poured. It's essentially part of the bridge structure, and the contractor will use it's a flexible, not rubber, but kind of plasticky form that is designated ultimately by the township the exact shape of the stone. The concrete is then poured, and you come up with that stone structure. It's going to look great. It's going to look great. The best thing about this, the lifespan of precast or even cast in place concrete bridges is about 100 years. Okay. Barring any future damage. With municipal bridge, and let me walk up. I'll try to speak clearly. There are sidewalks.
There you
on
go.
both sides.
Use the mic, please.
Thank you.
Thank you.
There are sidewalks on both sides. So we essentially are here at the municipal building off the map. Both sides will have sidewalks for pedestrian access as well. This is a nice wide bridge, plenty of pedestrian access and safe vehicular access. So we are looking for, tonight, I'll just do municipal first. We're looking for approval by the commissioners to go out to bid. We should be able to let those, advertise those bids in the next several weeks, with construction to be completed well before your March of 2023 deadline to have this constructed. The contractor can work in cold weather. Knock on wood, we don't have a bad winter, using specific concrete methods to ensure that the bridge is built correctly, so they can work through the winter to get this done. So I'm asking for a motion tonight for the commissioners to put municipal bridge out to bid, essentially as soon as possible.
And this will be done through Penn bid,
Through Penn bid, correct.
and there'll
Absolutely.
be the original precast plus the add alternate.
Correct, correct.
Do you have cost estimates for either?
Yes, we are looking to the municipal bridge is a little bit, obviously, it's expensive. It's going to be cost estimate today is between $2 and $2.2 million. More is a little bit less. It's anywhere from 1 to 1.5 million. Small, and you'll see it's a smaller structure, less construction.
Commissioners, any other questions on this?
Are these costs anywhere to being in line with what we first were estimating a year ago when?
Well, those were pre-inflation. Now our paving came in pretty good, I think, for bids. So we're not seeing the crazy construction inflation like we see at the grocery store. Gas prices have come down quite a bit, so that's going to help with the bids as well. And again, concrete is locally available. We're not shipping it in from elsewhere or having a precast structure most likely built. That will drive your costs up. So these should be, but again, we won't know until we get the bids, and it depends how many bidders we have, how busy everybody is.
Yeah, we need this bridge.
It needs to be done, exactly.
I just want to make sure that we're I know we had some great plans on how to pay for things and taxes got raised, and I want to make sure that we are going to dot our i's and cross our t's here, and we're not going to be here next year saying, guys, we got to raise some more money. You're doing a great job with getting this moving along. I'm very excited about it.
We are as well.
Okay, now, the new bridge, how does it compare to the present one? Is it a little bit wider because
yes,
you were talking about the sidewalks?
Absolutely. Give me just a I don't have exact figures, but it is wider. And the bridge deck does extend further into Carlson and up Municipal. You can imagine the soils are not good
Mhm.
because of the
Right.
creek.
Mhm.
So we had to extend the bridge deck in order to make it as, I wouldn't say safe, as structurally sound as possible. So it's going to, the physical structure is going to extend further into Carlson and across Municipal. So it's a larger structure.
Understood, okay.
It also is ADA accessible where
Absolutely, yes.
today's is not.
Yes, there's actually, on the plan, there are ADA notes that make the sidewalk and ramps to the bridge itself 100% ADA accessible.
Good.
And this bridge, while it's under construction, will have full-time construction observation by our staff.
Oh, you don't need that. We'll have the residents there.
Oh, I know, that's true,
24
that's true. So you're right, that's right.
That's
So
volunteer.
you're right.
They actually might help build the bridge.
Yeah,
if it
definitely.
gets quicker.
Absolutely.
Ms. Denny, do we have any, questions from the residents?
Yes, Mr. DeYoung?
Hello again, just a quick question. Does this put us on the timetable for the FEMA reimbursement? Happens, I
Yes,
believe,
we are
sometime in March.
We are still within the FEMA timetable. We also discussed with them, you know, that this is going to bid and that, you know, our concerns with supply chain and they said they will be willing to work with us as long as they see that we are continuing to make progress.
Right, that's what I thought from the first, that's why I didn't wanna jump at the tax increase, if
Yes.
FEMA will work with us. So what I said came back to be true.
Well, what Ms. Denny just said is, as long as we're making progress,
Mm-hmm.
we can do that. If we didn't do anything, then no, that would not, I don't think be.
I'm not saying that, Josh, I'm just saying tax and put the money in there and put the tax increase in there. And we could have been making the same progress without having any money. That money's still sitting in the checking account, correct?
We didn't get it.
No,
But
this-
bond money.
again,
this doesn't
it's
make
a
any sense.
reimbursement. We have to spend the money in order to get the money back.
We're using the bond.
Right. But right now, the money is sitting in the checking account waiting to be used to build this bridge and then get reimbursed, which is a period longer than 18 months.
I think he's talking about the loan we took out,
The bond loan?
not the FEMA money.
Right.
Yeah.
But
No, I'm
we
talking
had to
about
get the money
that-
from somewhere. I mean, we've been paying for design and engineering
Yes.
and hydrology studies. I mean, they're,
We are spending the money.
Yeah.
Mark, I'm not sure if that's
I mean,
the
we
question.
had to get, we couldn't start this unless we can show that we have the ability to pay for it.
Right. I agree with all that. I'm just saying, from the beginning, I knew it wasn't going to be an 18-month project. So,
I think
We're
we all
hoping
did.
it's less than that.
Yes.
And
Okay.
As far as the completion date, what are we looking at? Early spring?
At the latest, March 31st of next year,
Yes.
absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're on target.
Supply
Yeah.
chain
Mhm.
cooperating,
Yes,
which we can all
exactly.
hope, and that's why
Yeah.
we're doing two different types of bids to try to get this done as efficiently and quickly as possible.
This bridge
Right,
could
but you-
very well be done before the golf carts arrive.
I would
Oh, there you
put money on that. So that I would put money on.
All right, Mark. Yeah, good question, Mark, though.
Yeah.
I'll give you a win there. Thank you.
All right.
Thanks,
Okay.
Mark.
So your second largest project from IDA, of course, is Moore.
Mm-hmm.
Moore Road Bridge project. Again, it's more of a culvert. It's a much shorter span.
Mhm.
It's a box culvert. Which is exactly what it sounds like. It's
Right.
Essentially just a box you drive over for a bridge.
Mm-hmm.
We're estimating that between $1 and $1.5 million total construction cost. This bridge culvert, in comparison, is 14 feet wide, 5 feet high from the base of the stream, and then 27 feet long. So it's about half as narrow, almost as long, and about half as high, given the topography and semi-rural location of the bridge itself. No pedestrian traffic, there's no need for sidewalks. There's no sidewalks there at all right now. So it's gonna be less expensive to put in. And right now we have the because of its location, we just have the precast, the precast or cast in place, just smooth concrete walls, nothing decorative. It's kind of out of the way. So we didn't think there was a need for additional expense for that from the commissioner.
Okay.
So again, we have hopefully a similar, again, knock on wood, 100-year lifespan for this facility as well. And as with municipal, we're seeking approval tonight from the commissioners to go out to bid as soon as possible.
Do you know how old the old structure was?
I don't. Hold on. Let me see if
Well,
it's on
Moore Road,
plans.
let me put it this way, it had.
I know it
wooden-
had wood beams.
Yeah,
Yes,
wood
it had wood
beams.
beams originally, so that's gotta be, I'm not even saying the 20s. I mean, it may be older than the 20s.
So that original bridge had a 100-year
At least,
lifespan.
absolutely.
And somebody in 100 years is gonna be talking about how we didn't know when we were doing, when we installed the bridge we're putting. So,
What's concrete?
Yeah.
You kidding me? Absolutely.
Be complaining about.
they could have
this.
3D printed this bridge over a weekend.
Yes.
Everybody.
Yeah, the existing structure data, single span timber. I mean, steel was used in the late 20s, so this is ancient.
320s. Okay.
That's right.
Wow.
And then concrete beams. on
You
top
wanna
of
say the
timber, so
beams,
it's
Mark?
old. It's old.
1890.
Want the beams?
1890.
That's it
com-
for more.
all right.
And if- any more
Commissioners,
questions?
any questions on this? I'll ask the residents. Any questions from residents?
Not at this time.
All right. Well, why don't we do one at a time here? Entertain a motion to advertise for the Moore Road Bridge Replacement Project.
So moved.
Second.
So moved by Commissioner Evans, second by Commissioner Kennedy. All in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion's good, 5-0. And entertain a motion to advertise for the municipal bridge project.
So moved.
Second.
Moved.
Second.
Move second and third. All in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
All right. Good to go.
Very good. Thank
Thank
you very
you.
much.
Thank you, guys.
Thank
All
you.
right.
These are your biggest projects. We're working quickly to get these built.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I suggest ribbon cutting, at least for this one.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Ribbon cutting. I like this.
Why not?
That was
What's left
nice.
on the IDA list?
I'm sorry?
What's left on the IDA list?
Gosh, all those other projects will be before you on the 29th. We are, again, 99% done with those plans.
Mhm.
These were your two biggest, and I wanted to get these in front of you tonight.
Mhm.
We're ready to go with the other ones as well. By the end of September, early October, we'll be bidding those other projects as well. And I've said previously, it's gonna be busy in this township. It's gonna be busy. Oh, yeah. Okay, just quickly, you previously authorized the 2 barley sheaf.
I'm
I'm sorry.
Hold on.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
You previously authorized the 2 barley sheaf projects to go, South Lloyd Avenue Stream Bank and North Bailey Road. So those will all be before you. Anything additional will be before you on the 29th to go out to bid. So it's gonna be busy here in this township.
And keep in mind, the ones that are for next meeting are non-FEMA funded.
Yes,
They were items that were damaged, but they would not be considered FEMA funded because they
Were previously.
were defunct to begin with.
Yes. I have a goofy question.
no
How-
questions are goofy, trust me, go ahead.
Oh, yeah, they are. You haven't been around me enough. No, the wood beams from Moore Road,
Yes,
are they gone already?
I think everything is still, it's just unsafe. I don't think hasn't been
I don't think,
demolished.
we haven't done a demolition of
Yeah,
it.
there's no demolition done. Would you like,
I'm
You
wondering if
do whatever you want.
if we could use them over at Spackman Farm for some.
No.
some kind of interpretive display or something?
Yes.
Or- Hey, whatever you want, we'll transport.
Get that look
If
of
you're,
horror
wi-
off
if you're
your face.
willing to store them at your house, you can have them.
The Historical Society strikes again.
If-
Commission.
You may have anything
Commission.
you're willing to store.
All right.
There you go. It's
Thank
sustainable and we're recycling, right? Yeah,
All right.
I like
Thank you,
that.
gentlemen.
And the last thing, just an update on the East Fisherville Bridge
Mhm.
demolition. Lycoming Supply is intending to start that, mobilize for that project on September 19th. Next Monday, 2 Mondays from now.
Mhm.
Project will take about 3 weeks to get done.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate the updates.
Good night. Thank you very
Yes.
much.
Great.
Oh, that's right.
We'll see you Saturday.
Yeah, we'll see you Saturday, right?
Sorry.
And thank you for the tent and the table.
Hey, whatever keeps you coming along.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, we can use them.
I think it's great firewood.
Yeah, you're cool. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. We'll see you Saturday.
Exposed.
Oh, take care, guys. All right, next on the agenda, we have Miss Denny, our township manager.
Second here, let me just stop the share. The first item that we have under my report, we have the resignation / retirement of Sergeant Christine Cusick from the Callan Township Police Department.
Commissioners, any questions on this? How long has she been employed with us?
I believe it's 20 years.
Wow.
Thank her for her service.
Yes, please. Yeah,
Mhm.
thank her for all her service. I know we've seen her name on pretty much every report.
Every report,
Always been
lead
on top
detective,
of it. So,
and,
we wish her well with the new job. So at this time, I will entertain a motion to accept the resignation of Sergeant Christine Kuzik.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Kennedy, Commissioner Evans, second by Commissioner Tindaro. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion's good, 5-0. Next on the agenda,
Yes, the next item that we have is a review of memorandum of understanding for acting lieutenant with the Callan Township Police Department. In the past, we have also done this when there has been a vacancy. Sergeant Nathan Miller has been acting in an acting capacity, doing lieutenant and deputy chief duties. We would like to compensate him for those. I believe it's $2 an hour. He's worth way more than that, but that's what we have done in the past.
no objection to that, commissioners?
No objection.
Entertain a motion to approve the memorandum of understanding.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Evans, second by Commissioner Young. All in favor, say aye. 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 Motion's good, 5-0. Please pass along our thank you to
Yes.
Sergeant Miller for stepping up.
No, we appreciate it. He's, definitely a good guy, and we're glad to have him, and glad that he's willing to take on additional responsibilities. We have a ratification, a request for a consideration, well, it is a ratification for consent to change of control of contract with AJ Blazensky to Blythe Recycling and Demolition, an affiliate of Waste Connections Incorporated.
It's just an ownership change, right?
It is an ownership change. The staff and when I had met with Mr. Blazensky, he says that he has we have 2 more years on the existing contract that we have with Blazensky. He said he has signed an employment agreement, and management staff within his department or within his organization have also signed on that he will be with the company for an additional 5 years. Nothing is changing. The trucks will still say Blazensky. So as far as our residents, there really is not really, as far as our concerns, there's not really a change. Again, our prices are locked for 2 years that we're in the contract with them. This is, the waste industry is an acquisition industry. This is a regular occurrence within that industry. So, when I talked with the solicitor, she reviewed the letter that was sent over that I shared with the Board of Commissioners, and she felt that it was all above board, and also there's really no way to stop somebody from, selling a company.
Thank you, because I forgot to roll my cans down to the curb before I came to the meeting, so now I remember.
All right, any commissioners, any questions on this? Any questions from residents on the change?
None at this time.
All right, entertain a motion to ratify this document. Let's just put it like that.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Kennedy, second by Commissioner Young. All in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion's good, 5-0. And last, municipal property to
Yes,
advertise?
we have 3 vehicles that we would like to advertise on Municipid. One is a 2017 Ford Explorer with 85,000 miles on it. One is a 2013 Ford Taurus Police Interceptor with 107,000 miles on it. And the last one is a 2005 Ford F-150 with 92,000 miles on it. So we would like to get permission from the board to go ahead and dispose of this property via Municipid.
Bring pretty good money right now.
You know, that is the,
Police cars.
yeah, I'm not sure. I think, I know one of the Explorers, I think it's the Explorer needs, I want to say a new transmission maybe, but, the F-150 I know needs a new engine. But we have really, I'm shocked at how much we have been getting for cars that,
Yes.
you know, garages that can put in a new engine, because really the bodies on all 3 of these are not in bad shape.
You said, one's a police vehicle?
2 police vehicles and one is an F-150.
So with 107,000 miles, but the engine was running.
Oh, who even knows?
Yeah.
You know, that is the
That's,
I don't mean to say deceptive, because it's not, that's what police cars do, and that's what the
Mhm.
Interceptors are built to do. But Josh knows better than any, you know, those big engines give at like 100,000, 90,000, 100, they just give.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, just when they run that long.
Yeah.
Well, they're, yeah.
Yeah,
kinda
and they
slow.
idle a lot, which
Mhm.
allows a lot of carbon buildup.
Okay.
All of the Explorers we have gotten in the past 2 years, though, have been the hybrid edition, and we are interested to see how that is going to fare versus how the old school engines have. You know, it's too early in their tenure to know, but that's one of the hopes, is being it goes into, you know, essentially shuts the engine off if we're going to see a longer or a better, you know, mechanical life on the engines.
Mm-hmm.
So you need a battery pack.
We don't want to talk about that, Josh.
We don't have a battery pack on electric.
On the
or
hybrid?
On,
Yeah,
on
they
the
do.
hybrid? Really?
It's not a charging electric, but it is the hybrid form that when it's idling, essentially the engine shuts off.
Right, you
Mhm.
run off the battery pack.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't realize that.
But that was under warranty, I believe, 7 years. I think the chief checked into that.
Yeah, I remember I asked that question when we bought them.
Yeah, I want to say the warranty on that was 7 years, which is giving. We, you know, the scary part, not to belabor this subject, but we had already put in our orders for next year's Explorers. Each one of them are $10,000 more.
Yeah.
Period. Just no. And luckily the dealer we work with called us and got us on the list, and his list closed out in 24 hours. But they just said, that's it, no more orders. So,
All right, commissioners, any questions on this?
No, let's go make some money.
put it back in the equipment fund.
That's right.
Entertain a motion, to advertise, the municipal property
So
listed.
moved.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner, Evans, second by Commissioner Tindaro. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion's good, 5-0. We have a couple ordinance and resolutions for consideration. First one, 2022-29, authorizing the township manager secretary to execute an intergovernmental agreement between Pennsylvania, acting through the Department of Transportation, PennDOT, and Count Township to allow PennDOT to install and maintain traffic management upgrades with Count Township. Do you want to elaborate on that?
Yeah, this is a part of a larger system that PennDOT has been placing throughout all of Pennsylvania, and putting in closed circuit television cameras and travel time readers to assist in monitoring traffic, you know, making traffic decisions, timing decisions, using that for data to make determinations of where additional traffic signaling may be made. So the locations that they are looking at putting travel time readers at is Lincoln Highway at North Callan Road, East Lincoln Highway at Bonsville Road, Bonsville at Humpton, Manor at Lloyd, and then a CCTV location on Lincoln Highway and Barley Sheaf Road. you know, it really doesn't affect any of our operations. It is definitely we are very fortunate that one of PennDOT's traffic engineers lives in the township, and kind of jumps on things as soon as he sees them and gets a lot of good traffic stuff installed for us. In fact, he just sent me an email today that I'm going to be forwarding to the board and discussing with you. It's not on the agenda tonight, so I couldn't bring it up I can bring it up for discussion, but I can't bring it up for action. That basically he's got into some handicap grant money, and we will be putting handicap accessibility lights and signals throughout Lincoln Highway
Cool.
Beautiful.
at PennDOT's cost.
Listen, do these systems have security cameras in them as well?
Only the one they're putting in with the CCTV, and it's not a security, it's just CCTV. That being said, the police with PennDOT's permission can access it
They can.
if there is a wreck or a crime, but that's not the primary purpose. The
Right, but it
primary
can be
purpose
used
is the
as-
traffic, but our police can access that if needed.
And they're only putting that in one location?
That's in this contract. There was a contract a couple, or I believe it's last meeting or the meeting before, and I can't remember what locations were in there. But for this particular agreement, the only one that is getting CCTV is Lincoln Highway at Barley Sheaf. But it's still something that is improving the township and making traffic hum at a better pace.
Commissioners, any questions? I will ask the residents, any questions on this?
None at this time.
All right, entertain a motion to approve resolution 2022-29.
So moved.
Move. Moved by Commissioner Kennedy, second by Commissioner Tindaro. All in favor, say aye.
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 Motion's good, 5-0. Next we have a request to consider resolution 2022-30. This is acknowledging the receipt of the 2023 minimum municipal obligation worksheet for the inclusion of said obligation for the police pension plan in 2023 calendar year. Ms.
So
Denny?
every year there's very few things I come prepared for, but even a blind squirrel gets a nut every once in a while. This is the one thing I come prepared for every year because I know Mr. Young is going to ask. So our MMO payment is for 2023 is going to be $525,000 or $525,085. For 2022, it was $627,000, $459. So that being said, as our auditor had just we had a really good return year the previous year. This worksheet is done on an annual basis. So it deals with the years past trailing numbers, if that makes sense. There also has been, as Mr. Young talked about, that there was a lot of steps made in the last police contract to control pension costs. So, that weighted with some good return years, also weighted with, some early retirements coming in that isn't going to tax our system as much. There's a plethora of things that are leading to that. But I remember when we signed the last police contract saying, oh, it's going to take a long time to see these realizations, but we're going to see them. And we kind of blinked and we're starting to see them.
Plus,
So
when John and Cynthia were here, and I think Lorraine was here then too. We bumped up our payment amount so that we closed that gap quicker.
Yeah.
Because we were at about 79, 80%. So we funded, so we jumped the amount we were putting in to try to close that gap much quicker.
very smart. Yeah. So in any event, that is the one thing I come prepared for every year that I know Mr. Young is going to annually ask that question.
It's good to be prepared. Commissioners, any questions on this? If not, I'll ask the residents, any questions on this resolution?
None at this time.
All right, entertain a motion to approve resolution 2022-30.
So moved.
So moved by Commissioner Kennedy, second by Commissioner Young. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion's good, 5-0. What do we got next here? Execution of an intergovernmental cooperation agreement with Chester County to provide processing and marketing of the recycled materials. Ms. Denny?
Yes, we had, the last meeting had, given notice to Eagle that we were eliminating their processing, due to the fact that it is cheaper for us to process our recycling material through Chester County. So this resolution finalizes that situation. And we will be sending again, the residents will see no difference. The residents are same bins, same trucks, same days, same everything. The only difference is where those trucks are driving at the end of the day to drop the recyclables off.
Awesome.
Commissioners?
Excuse me, Kristen, I have a question.
Go ahead.
Did you hear anything about the waste, where they take our trash in Honeybrook to the dump there?
The Lanchester landfill.
Right, or the Lanchester landfill, there was some discussion that it may be closing because they can't take any more,
They had a
waste.
10-year, last time I heard, it was 10 years out before that landfill will be full.
It was just a
10 years.
discussion. I don't know if that would have an impact on us in the near distant future.
It could in the next bid contract. I mean, that's, again,
Could be seen, but
we are
yeah.
locked in the prices we are for the next 2 years. Every 3 years, it's law that we have to go out to bid. And he's yet to be determined.
No other questions from commissioners? Any questions from residents?
None at this time.
All right, entertain a motion to approve our resolution 2022-31.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Kennedy, second by Commissioner Tindaro. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion's good, 5-0. The last one, since we did not have our demonstration,
It'll be moved to the next agenda.
perfect. Next on the agenda, we have minutes to approve. Board of Commissioners meeting from August 25th. Commissioners, any additions, corrections needed? If not, entertain a motion to approve. So moved. So moved.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Evans, second by Commissioner Kennedy. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Minutes have been approved. Moving on to the financials. Lisa, is she still hanging?
No,
Oh,
she is
she-
not.
Okay. Commissioners, any questions on the check run? Check run 48,727 to 48,843 with a manual check run of 275 to 279. And we do have some checks voided, 47,715 through 48,715 to 48,726.
So moved.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Tindaro, second by Commissioner Kennedy. All in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye, motion's good, 5-0. I did want to give a shout out to the finance office, Lisa, and everyone involved there for everything they did with the audit.
Yes.
It's got to be painful,
Excellent.
and you got to love numbers, so thank you.
Thanks.
And a lot of testing.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, you go home dreaming about that stuff after a while, so, yeah, I go through that. All right, boards and commissions update. First, we have Park and Rec.
And sorry, not to belabor that, but this is also not the only audit they go through. They also, in addition, through audits for the workman's comp and the pensions and the liquid fuel accounts and now the ARPA accounts. So this is the massive audit, but there's many smaller audits that they're also doing throughout the year.
Yep. It's
Okay.
definitely, yeah, a lot to take in.
Okay, for Park and Recs, we're really looking forward to our 14th annual Community Day on Saturday, starting at 3 o'clock. We still need lots of volunteers, so if you're out there, we would like you to definitely be there. It's going to be a beautiful day. It's going to be a time just to celebrate all that we've done over the last couple of years during the pandemic, and to be able to come out again as a community and a County Township family. It's going to be tons of fun. We have so many great sponsors that are going to be there. Lots of food, lots of fun, live band, fireworks. Lots of games for the kids, food trucks. We have so many great sponsors. It's going to be a lot of great people out there. Let's be there because we're going to have a lot of our neighboring municipalities and governmental officials. I mean, there's just going to be tons of people looking forward to being with us. I mean, it's always been a great event, and we want to make it a better time because 2 years and not having the opportunity to be out together, this is kind of like a big blast before the winter months and other activities begin. So just please come out, and if you still want to volunteer, show up, show out, and let's celebrate our great township together as a family. In regards to like COG, unfortunately, only could pick up half the meeting because of technical difficulties. But again, they're moving very aggressively on the animal shelter project, and they're looking for volunteers. They still think that they can work between municipalities to do rescue and not be charged or double charged by some of the fees that they think they're getting across the board from the SPCA. And, you know, they think they have enough now to begin to move forward. Outside of that, they were great discussions about the emergency management services in our county and how all the municipalities are like, much like ourselves, trying to provide the best for our residents. And I think we're pretty much got that pretty much on solid ground, you know, so we have neighbors that are, you know, experiencing some of the same difficulties and concerns, you know, about EMS services in their municipalities. Outside of that, I'm going to turn the mic back over to Paul.
Thank you, Jane. Got me all excited about Community Day.
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
Abby roped me into doing a recycling game. I can't wait to see that. And I'm only doing half of the day, so I don't know which one of you guys are doing the other half, but I guess I'm stuck with it all. Okay.
All day long.
But yeah, we're all looking forward to that
Yes,
day.
we are.
We're lucky there's not the dunk tank.
Yeah.
Yeah, they wanted to dunk the commissioners.
Forward to that dunk thing. Can I just say in there, you know, it's, you said it earlier today. The last time we had a Community Day, 3 of us were at a campaigning booth. We weren't even on the board yet. I mean,
2 years ago.
it's like a lot has
And
happened
it was
since
beautiful.
then. And really love the way this township's moving. I'm really looking forward to Saturday.
And if I recall, we had Miss Pennsylvania.
Oh yeah, we had Miss Pennsylvania there.
Memories today. Yes, we did.
Yeah, she
right.
did a showing there.
Yeah.
She's in California now.
Now bring her in.
Miss California.
All right. Next is municipal authority. Just real quick, the I&I program, Equix Integrity. They're still working on phase 4 repair project, and Gilmore at this time is currently putting out the bid for the phase 5, which I believe is the last section that we are working on for our interceptor. Over at Willows at Valley Run, at our August meeting, granted an extension until October 24th, 2022. Meeting for the delivery by Willows at Valley Run, all the required documents needed for their project. To this authority solicitor. I don't know if Scott wrote that correctly. Hopefully that came out right. And Chester County Sports Arena granted an extension to their project for a temporary holding facility O&M pumping agreement until September 30th as they're putting things together. So. For the DARA, no real update from DARA at this point. And Fire Board, we have not met since previous month, so no report on that one. Next will be Historical Commission.
Historical Commission. We did not meet in August. You know, August is that month, I guess, when there's so many people traveling. But our next scheduled meeting is on Wednesday, September 21st at 7 p.m. We meet hybrid, which means you can be right here live with us or join us in Zoom land. At our next meeting, noted Chester County historian and author Catherine Quillman will be joining us to discuss the Underground Railroad in Callan and Lloyd Farm. I believe we're also going to be joined by some of the people from Allfill to discuss their plans for 4060 Edges Mill Road. I also want to say that this was more of a historical society thing, but the Mendenhall family had their family reunion. And, you know, for people who haven't been here for long, or you just come here and you don't know a lot of the history, and, you know, we were at the Cowan Meeting House. It's a beautiful little lunch that they put together. And there's all these people that have come from all over, were they from all over the world? Some of them were out, yeah. Who are all descendants, almost all of them, from the original Mendenhalls here in Callan. And, you know, Edge, Mendenhall, I mean, they're all, these names are weaved together. It was really cool. And it just got us more excited about things that we will be doing down the road. So, lastly, Isaac, I got a note from Richard Spackman, who is the 4th great grandson of Isaac Spackman, who was the founder of Spackman Farm. And Richard had heard we might be doing something up at Spackman Farm once it's open, and that he and his family members who are out west would love to come in for that. Which leads me to my last thing. On September 19th, the driveway and little area, parking area by Spackman, the Spackman Manor will be paved with grass pavers.
Great.
So for a commission that didn't meet, that was a whole lot of stuff, wasn't it?
Yeah. Great.
Did we? Hey, Ms. Denny, the meeting that we had prior, that was considered an executive session?
Yes, for
Okay.
personnel and legal matters.
Okay, thank you. Yes.
Okay. I'll let you leave it off the record.
My vice president here
Yes.
reminded me to make sure I make a note of that. So, thank you, Gene.
Well, I'm here for you.
All right. All right.
You know?
What a group. We're awesome. All right, Lincoln Highway.
So on Tuesday, the school board is scheduled to meet and vote on LERTA for the final time on the actual wording. We're still working with them diligently to make sure it's the wording that we need and not something different. So we're working on that. We'll see where that ends up. And once we secure that, then Mark and I will take our roadshow to the county and try to get the county to approve LERTA as well.
Keep it going.
Great.
Thank you.
Mr. President, do we have a golf committee report? I think the committee. met
Under
on
additional
August
business,
29th.
we have golf course equipment quotes.
Oh, there it is.
Chris, come on up. Let's make a quick presentation.
Good evening. On the 3 pieces of machines we're looking to get approval for, but the quotes haven't changed.
Yeah, work on the mic there. I'm not sure if
Yeah,
everyone
can't hear
in
it.
Zoom land can hear you. Is it on?
Now
I can
Now?
hear it crackling, yeah.
Is it good?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, for the 3 pieces of machinery we're trying to get, well, carts and two mowers. None of the quotes have changed since the last time. If we get approval, we're looking probably May of next year for all of them. About 8 months away for all the pieces of machinery. So I'll just go over real quick the numbers again. The first one, the cart fleets, is 55 carts. It's a 7-year lease, paying $2,395 a month. And next year, it only costs us $14,372 because we wouldn't start paying until July. Come in. After that, it'd be $28,744 for the rest of the remaining time. Total of that lease would be $2,214. On the greens mower, the total cost is $40,905, and we financed that for 3 years, and that yearly cost comes out to $14,989. What we pay for over those 3 years for that piece of machinery. And then the rough mower would be $51,775, same finance for 3 years, as we normally do, and that would come out to $18,984 that we would pay per year on that. And like I said before, that was worked into the 2-year, 3-year plan that we had put out. Other than that, so like in 2023, total cost will be 48,345. 2014, 2025, we're looking at 62,717, and then after that, 2026 through 2029 just becomes the car lease off of these three.
Right, yeah. The 3-year payments for the 2 mowers, I mean, then after the 3 years, we own them.
Right. Yep.
Okay, and the life span of those mowers would be 10 years, 15
The rough
years?
mower, the green mower is probably 10 years. Rough mower a little bit less, 7. That's used every day, 8 hours a day. So they're probably about 6 to 7 years on the rough mower. Greens mower you can get about 10 years out of. And on the cart fleet, that would be 7 years, and then going into another lease after those 7 years. You know, turning those in, getting a fresh batch back out.
Chris, I know the carts we currently have no longer are available for the service contract.
Right.
So are these are in service contract? Is that included in the price, or we owe service
No,
contract?
the first year would be 6,000 on the service contract.
Okay, is that built into your prices as
No,
well?
not in here. That's
Okay.
service contract. We've always had the service contract. We usually spend 9,000 on it. So we're actually saving 3 by getting more cards.
Okay, but that's built into your 3-year budget.
Yeah, all that's in there. Yep.
Okay. So what I know that this past year you weren't able to get a service contract, right? Is that?
Yeah, the service contract was 3,000, only covered labor. So
Okay.
that means we paid for everything. If it needed a battery, if it needed, you know, the oil, all the oil changes, all the filters, we paid for everything.
Do you have a rough cost of what that costs this year?
Right now, we're up to about 7,000 in,
Okay.
you know, in that, and we still have, you know, 3 or 4 months to go
Right.
on that. So we'll probably end up being with the 3,000 there. I'm figuring about 10, maybe 13 to 14,000 in
Okay.
costs, you know, depending on what happens, how much things go down. We seem to have 3 or 4 down a week right now.
Okay. And what was what was the increase to the cart fee to pay for the carts? Do you remember off the top of your head?
We weren't increasing the cart fee. Last year, we increased the greens fee.
Okay.
Because the cart fee, you know, we were actually getting more complaints last year about our cart fee.
Okay.
So we took off that cart fee because we raised it because of COVID. We took that cart fee but put it to the actual round, and we've gotten no complaints, even though they're actually paying the same amount. On carts, you pay taxes, so you save some there by not putting it to the cart fee.
When the new carts come in, would that be a good time to consider raising the cart fee? Because then you're saying, hey, look, you know, we got a shiny brand new.
We have that. We'll get them in mid-year.
Yeah.
So it's kind of, sometimes you don't do it in mid-year, but maybe the next, you know, the following year after that, as we go into, say, hey, look, you know, we've gotten these new cards going into January this year. That is a good time probably to increase the cards off of that.
And I think the reason we didn't go, I already know that it wasn't an option, but electric carts don't, the battery life isn't long enough.
Well, what you then have to purchase, if you get 55 carts, you now have to get 55 chargers in your cart burn.
Oh.
Hang them there, because each cart has to be plugged in each night.
Gotcha.
So that's that's an initial fee right off the bat. Right there. That's quite large.
I've just noticed that they're not as powerful either.
Yeah.
And we have some difficult terrain on some of our.
Going on some of those hills, yeah. I mean, these will be quiet. You know, they will run, and they use very minimal. 5-gallon gas tank, probably at least 2 weeks, maybe longer, on these, and they'll be very quiet. You know, the newer parts will be much quieter than the ones we have now.
Right, I did see a hand raised. We have a question from our resident.
Not now.
Oh, not now?
Oh, there it is.
Yes, Mark.
Mr. DeYoung?
You're muted.
Hello, how are you? Chris filled into the financials, how these are actually paid for and will actually come out of the actual cash flow and will not create more debt, which I think you guys know. I hate debt. So that's a big thing.
I apologize, Mark. I lost the last half of that.
I'm sorry, that the new cars will not increase our debt. So it'll be covered under the increases in greens fees and things like that that Chris mentioned.
Yes.
Right.
So-
Yeah, correct. Yeah, as you know, we were working on that, the budget. That's what we wanted to make sure we're gonna be able to, pay for the new carts.
Right, that's it.
So, yeah, the fact that we've actually made it into the black, is a great
That's
sign.
fine.
It's huge, huge.
Sound good?
Sounds great to me.
All right, thanks,
right.
Mark. I don't know how any of the other commissioners feel. I wanted to vote on the carts tonight. I do want to take 2 more weeks and think about the mowers.
Mhm.
Unless you guys wanted to jump on that. We're ballparking it here.
Like you said, it's a time constraint issue.
Yeah, I'm
I,
good
I,
with the
you know,
cards.
we've been pushing for the carts. I want to get this up and running
Yeah.
because, originally we were hoping for May, now or March. Now
Right.
you're saying we're going to be pushed maybe even to May. So we need to make that move.
Mhm.
But I want to make sure that, within our budget, the 40,000 and 51,000.
Are we okay?
I believe so. I just wanted to double check. If that's okay. Can we wait 2 weeks for the other 2 items?
I'm cool with that. Chris, cool with that?
All right.
Chris? Yeah.
That's fine.
Not to belabor it, but entertain a motion to approve the cost of the new carts
So moved.
for the golf course. So moved.
Second,
Moved by Commissioner Evans, second by Commissioner Tendero. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. And yeah, based on the information that you already approved or already sent to us.
Just a quick question. So I know you say you move, like you still keep the old like greens mower and the rough mower. So what happens to, because you have 2 of them now, right? Do you then just get rid of the older one?
We only have one greens mower.
Okay.
We have one greens mower and one rough mower.
Okay.
We have one rough mower that's, we saved us $1,000 this year by grabbing the starter off it.
Okay.
There's hardly anything left to it. We only have one functioning rough mower and one greens mower. That's the big thing with the greens mower. It's the most important thing to keep
Right.
cut every day. If you lose it, say 3-4 days, you got big time problems. So you want to have something on hand that is a spare.
Yeah, I assumed that you had something on spare.
Yeah,
already.
no, right now we're operating on the one greens mower.
Okay.
We could always take off the reels, put it on like a key mower that we have, but that's neat. Then how do you cut your keys, So
Okay.
greens are the most important thing. They got to be cut at least once every 3 days at minimum. We cut them every day.
Okay. So, but your plan is to keep these.
Yes.
And then
Yeah, they're
there'll
still
be a
functioning.
backup.
They're still usable. Not as reliable. The rough mower this year has been a pain. It's been down. I probably spent more time working on that than anything. It's down right now again, getting parts. I mean, I might have spent $4,000 or $5,000 on that rough mower in parts this year trying to keep it going. So having something more reliable definitely free us up. We'll use it. Maybe cut the range, highest growing areas. With times we'll use it, get it out there to get the going.
Okay.
Any other questions, commissioners? All right, Chris, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
All right.
Chris.
All right.
Pleasure doing business.
Next on the agenda, we have public comment. Any at this time?
Not at this time.
All right. From the commissioners? If not, entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Moved, second, and third. All in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank
Have a
you.
great night.
Not too bad.
2 weeks.
See you on Saturday.
Oh, yes.
It's so good to see you.
Saturday.
Got signatures?